listening to the sweet sounds of the After Movie Diner. Support us at patreon.com/After Movie Diner. Or I'll punch you in the teats. Rate and review us on iTunes, Earthling. And now, here's your host, John Cross.
Well. West side. Well. On the west side of Manhattan. On the east side of my balls.
Hello, and welcome to the West Side.
There is always a wind on the east side of my balls.
Well, the east wind is the laziest wind.
Beware the east wind.
Well, it's the laziest wind.
No, beware the east wind.
It doesn't go around you, it goes right
It
through
goes
you.
on my balls.
It doesn't do that either.
It doesn't, you sure?
No, it
I feel
doesn't
like it
go.
does a bit.
It's the laziest wind.
Are you sure it doesn't a bit?
No, it doesn't.
Like a bit. A tiny bit.
All right, let's see what they have.
Huevos fritos dos cervezas.
What they say about the east side. East
What do
wind.
they say?
About the east
By the
wind.
east side?
No, the east wind.
I thought it was the west side.
It's west side.
West side, right.
The east wind is the laziest wind. It doesn't go around you. It goes right through
You just said that, yeah.
Yeah, I know. But you keep talking over me, so I'm just making sure that people heard it. Anyway, hello and welcome to this week's episode.
Why
of
don't you just
the
edit me out? Why don't you find some kind of an app, right, that you can wash the sound with, and it just removes my voice?
Annoying tips.
So it's like the podcast is just you going, and another thing about beans or whatever, whatever else you say when I'm trying to talk over you.
Another thing about beans.
I'll give you one thing about beans, but after that I will start talking.
Could I at least do the introduction to the show?
No.
No. So what your plan for this episode is just to torpedo it so that it never starts and then it just ends.
Yeah.
But
That's pretty much what I do all the time.
here's a conundrum. Can it end if it never starts?
Ooh, that's nundrums. That's nundrums.
You know what I've done there?
I have. You've nundrumed it.
I've nundrumed.
You've given it a right nundruming.
I have. Hello and welcome to the After Movie Diner. And on this week's show, we are in the West Side restaurant.
Why do you keep saying it like that? Though? I mean, I know it like feels right.
Yeah.
But what's the
Could you
origin
stop
of the
making
feeling?
all this noise with the menu?
What's the origin of the
You sound
feeling?
like you're wrestling Mothra
Origin of the
down to
feeling.
the floor
You
so
are
that
the
you can
origin
perform
of the
oral
feeling.
sex on Mothra. That's what it feels like you're doing.
I don't think we would be able to. Is a Mothra a bird? Oh, I guess not. So I guess I could.
Is Mothra a bird?
No, I seen a lady moth.
Oh. I
It's
thought
actually oral sex on a giant lady moth would presumably be easier than oral sex on a giant man moth.
yes, she is known. Were you not just watching the same movie? She's
Yeah.
known as the Queen of the Monsters.
Like as if if you didn't come out of the movie realizing that Mothra is Queen of the Monsters, then what were you even doing there? Do you know what I mean? What was even the point
No,
of the $26 if at the end of it you don't realize that one of the flying monsters, is the Queen of the Monsters?
It's the Queen of the
Queen of the fucking monsters.
Queen
mate.
of the Monsters. They have baked potatoes.
Oh, do they? Where's the baked potato?
Baked potato specials are underneath salads on right-hand side. You're on the sandwiches page, mate. You've got to go back. Go back. Go back. Go back. Back.
There we go. I've got it.
Baked potatoes.
Baked potato special. Well, that's kind of interesting.
I'm going to have a bacon and cheddar cheese baked potato.
Baked potato.
Baked potato.
A baked potato. I might have a baked potato.
Have a baked potato. Yes, you.
I'm going to have a baked potato. I'm going to have a bacon, broccoli, and cheddar baked potato.
You could give oral sex to Mothra because she is
I
a
could.
lady, and
I would not want to be caught by Godzilla, though.
although I'm not sure that bugs, because she's sort of a giant like moth spider thing, because she shoots webs. The moth shoots webs. Like, are there moths
Well,
in
okay,
my
so
cupboard
here's
right now, shooting webs all over everything, getting
Well, yeah,
everything all
no.
webby and sticky?
I don't know. Don't know. How much of it is based on, like the monsters of the Japanese movie?
All of them. Yeah.
So-
that's exactly
so-
what you.
Good.
Very
Thank you
good.
very
So
much.
how are you? We're both doing baked potatoes. I'm going to do a baked potato with cheddar and bacon, please.
And I'm going to do a baked potato with cheddar, bacon, and broccoli. It'd be dangerous. And can I have a cup of tea, English breakfast tea, with milk?
And I'm happy with water, so thank you.
Thanks very much. Cheers, man. Time.
So hello and welcome to the baked potato.
Hello.
We are discussing.
Welcome to Baked Potato and Lizards.
We're discussing Mothra's
With your host.
possible vagina. No, we're not discussing Mothra's vagina, although we were for a moment.
We were.
But no, they all are based on.
So
the
in
original
the old
Toho.
movies, then, does the moth shoot webs? That's the question.
Yes, I think so.
So there you go. There's your answer.
The one that wasn't in this was the giant turtle Gamera.
It's because, well, wasn't the turtle one of the monsters that like rose from the thingamajig but didn't really
Do anything?
Yeah.
Maybe.
It wasn't the one in Germany. I think it was maybe it might have been the turtle.
Oh, was Gamera taking a rest in Germany? Was it?
Yeah.
Apart from that, so yes, we went to see Godzilla.
We did. If you haven't figured it out by now, this is Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Godzilla,
Podcast.
King of the Monsters.
The podcast.
King of the Monsters.
King of the podcast.
Like, I think that's how it should have. It ended very dramatically, but I feel like it should have ended with Godzilla turning towards the camera, going, "I'm King of the Monsters again," and like putting on a little.
So
crown.
you're saying the problem with Godzilla is it's not cockney enough.
Well, look,
You're
it
saying
wa-
Guy Ritchie should have directed Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
He so should have directed.
actually should have done,
so
shouldn't he?
should
He
have
would have done a
directed.
really-
King of the- He would have
quite
done a
good
better job. But
Mothra, you slag.
get Jude Law in there. Yeah, no. Listen, I would totally go for a Guy Ritchie King of the Monsters.
Maybe they're gonna like bust out the monsters, their own like individual, like in the Godzilla universe, whatever.
Yeah.
So you can give like, you can give the turtle to Richie. You know what I mean?
No, don't give the
And
turtle.
then, like, the turtle like grows up.
The turtle's
do you know what I
like
mean? In the
friends-
slums of the east side,
No,
and learns to like
the turtle
pick
is-
a pocket or two. He's a massive turtle. How have you not caught him picking the pockets? He's literally the size of St Paul's Cathedral.
Wait, so Gamera the
Gotta pick a pocket or two.
Gamera.
We
is
haven't got
like-
handcuffs big enough, Sarge. You slag.
I like that. Gamera born within the sound.
Copyright me, Richie. You can't.
Within the.
No.
You gotta be quiet. The people are looking at us. But the two ladies over there. You just gotta be quiet.
Oh, okay. Is it because I said the word slag really loudly?
It's just because you're being very loud, and you don't need to be.
Normally I don't.
I apologise for his loudness. He won't be loud again.
I might be.
apologise.
Thank you.
Sorry.
So just to be clear, sometimes when I'm in a diner, I'm too quiet because you look at me something. Listeners, you never see his annoyed expression. It's a very specific. You're speaking too quietly, and it's getting annoying.
Right.
Expression.
But that's normally-
This is a different expression.
That's
this is that
normally-
you're speaking too loudly.
That's normally when we're in a diner with lots of loud music on, and the whole place is filled with people chattering.
But I'm like a broken television. I don't have volume.
Yeah, we've done this. This was last week's banter. Don't
No,
re-banter.
no. We didn't do banter
We did
about broken
for late
televisions.
night. But late night you said you had no. I just edited it the other day. You said you had
Now,
no.
when you say
modulation.
edited, do you mean edited it out? So actually, I should say it because people
No, I
didn't
didn't
hear
edit
it.
out. You're re-bantering the same banter, and we've already done that.
I never said anything about.
You already said you couldn't modulate your voice. In fact, this is the third conversation we've had about it in the podcast.
I feel like
history.
I'm telling it to my mum.
Yeah, you are just redoing banter. Never redo banter.
I'm not
Can
redoing
we go-
banter. I've just forgotten what I've said.
Can we go back? I was going to make a.
You're going to edit out the whole redoing
No,
banter
I
part.
was going to make a thing about Gamera being born within the sound of Bow Bells, but you went off being loud.
No, I wasn't. I was just loud, and then you started telling me off,
and then
like my
people,
dad.
People were looking at us,
Right.
and I got all self-conscious.
Okay, all right.
And I'm having a lot of fun, but I'm
Yeah,
having.
we're having fun, but there is such a thing as too much fun. You know what I mean?
Well, no, there's such a thing as too loud fun.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like big fun, people used to tell them to be quiet.
Hey, who was Big Fun again?
They were just some pop band, weren't they? Weren't Big Fun like a
I
pop?
feel like Big Fun were a pop band.
Yeah, and people used to say, could you keep it down?
Yeah, like practically to the level of silence, or even just giving up.
Yeah.
But
But
you
I'm,
keep it down so much, you just give up.
I'm quite excited by your idea of a remake of Oliver with Gamera. Well, it kind of works.
Yeah.
Gamera.
Please, sir, can I have some more?
Yeah. Okay.
But it'd be more like.
Well, Gabba apparently exists and survives entirely on porridge. And he likes
Radioactive porridge.
radioactive porridge.
Radioactive
And they
porridge.
have to fire it directly at his large shell.
Yeah. But they've got to rub it on. Rub it. Urchins have to rub it on. No, the bishop of East London has to rub radioactive porridge into the shell of the massive turtle.
Yeah.
Because he feels responsible for him since he pulled him out
Right.
of like the crater off
And
the
who
D-Day.
who plays the bishop? He's got to be like big
Winston,
and bald.
gotta be Winston.
Really?
Yeah, Ray Winston, but like bald Ray Winston.
Bald Winston.
Bald Winston.
Yeah, I like that. Bald Winston applying porridge.
I may be
to-
a bishop, but I'll cut you.
Yeah.
I'll do you.
I may be a bishop, but I'll do what a bishop has to do. I'll roll up my sleeve and
Bishop's got to do what a bishop's got to do.
rub porridge
Slag.
and rub porridge on the naughty bits of a giant turtle god. I guess I'm off to do it then. Now, what I was going to say was, before the movie, we got to see a trailer for It 2, the sequel
Starring
to It.
Ray Winston.
No. That's not every movie is made by what's his name?
Guy Ritchie?
Guy Ritchie. Although it would be considerably better if it was made by Guy Ritchie. But in it, you were saying like it, you were mocking me that Godzilla being more cockney wouldn't be a good thing necessarily. And
I didn't mock.
No, but you said like,
no
what
mocking.
you're saying is that, but in it, right, they have Pennywise like come at the children with the like and doing like a wobbly dance.
Oh, that was
like,
your
at the
inspiration
thing.
for the Cockney thing.
No, I'm just saying that was a mammoth hit, and everyone but me enjoyed it and thought it was super scary.
That's true.
even
We
though
had a
it
meeting.
wasn't.
Everyone had a meeting.
Everyone had a meeting, and they all
We
decided.
were like, we all agree, right?
John's not going to like it.
Don't invite him in.
No.
But we all agree. It is good.
No, it's not. Splendid. Look at that.
Magic. Thank you very much. That's lovely. Mine's even bigger. Thank you.
Well, yours would be. It has broccoli. Ooh.
What?
I just went to open the sour cream and it
Oozed on
me.
you. Okay. So here's the question.
Hang on a second.
All right, I'm sorry.
Hang on a second.
Sorry.
So what I'm saying is to make Godzilla even more successful is to have him go at the screen.
I don't think you should be in charge of anything.
I'm not.
If you produced any movies...
I am not in charge of anything.
The only thing that would be good about it is the eventual documentary that would come out when you're like 75 and living in Brighton or whatever.
75.
And they go, we now turn, the South Park show starring Melvin Bragg's hologram or whatever. We turn to the brief but memorable 5-year career of John Cross in Hollywood, during which he managed to persuade them that Godzilla should end the multi-billion-dollar franchise by singing a Cockney song and doing a little dance.
Now, if it worked for Pennywise the Clown.
To which nobody had the balls to say, I don't.
Do you know what I really wanted to happen in this movie? You know when they went down to Atlantis that they never called Atlantis, but it was clearly Atlantis. And he was all like, "Oh, we're in a secret tunnel under the water, blah 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 blah."
Right.
I wanted the Meg to show up.
What, Statham?
No, because in
Oh,
the
the
Meg,
shark.
the Meg is in like a pocket of ocean deeper than the regular
Same
ocean.
studio? Different
I don't-
studio.
Different studio, I think. But wouldn't it be amazing if, like, the Meg swam past and it just panned over to a little submarine where Statham went, bloody megalodon.
you slag.
No, he has to say megalodon,
Right.
right? So he's a bloody megalodon. And then it just went back to Godzilla King of the Monsters.
I feel like that would be a bit of a jet to introduce Statham and a massive
No, because then he
shark.
comes back for the sequel.
How big is the shark? The shark would be much smaller than Godzilla, though.
Yeah, but it's a giant prehistoric shark. It could fight the mammoth creature. I don't see that mammoth creature doing anything but lumbering about like a big furry thing.
That's true. That's very true. I feel like people lying down a bit on the job, like we're going to bring down a mammoth.
Right?
He's moving very slowly.
Yeah.
It's mostly meat. Can we not fire something into the middle of him?
Just set fire to the hair, mate. Goes up like a tree.
The After Movie Diner with John Cross will return right after this.
On Van Dam Street in the pouring rain, they watched his window with eyes of flame. Inside, time was getting short. Cigarettes were being smoked to extinction. He violently wished not to have to go to the merry gentleman in the street below. Deep inside, he knew nobody chooses the hour of their damnation. He looked at his dog asleep on the bed and softly scratched its dreaming head. Deep inside, it was shouting down the moon in a war of attrition. But it stirred as he quietly dragged his shadow down the stairs that sagged. Inside, his dog put its face to the window and bared teeth that shone like salvation. The tumbling glass flickered eyes of flame on Van Dam Street in the pouring rain.
Are You Hurtling Towards God Knows What? A brand new book of poetry by J.E.A. Wallace, available now on Amazon. And we've made it easy for you. You can click through the banner link on aftermoviediner.com.
You're listening to the After Movie Diner with your host, John Cross.
So can I ask you a question, then?
Yes, go right ahead.
Did you like it?
Yes and no.
All right.
So, yes, I enjoyed it.
Okay, I'm with you there.
Because I went in determined to enjoy it.
I gave a little bit too.
I could criticise it from here to the end of the earth, but I feel like that would be sort of futile and pointless.
Okay.
There was a lot about it I really loved,
Right.
and it tickled me no end.
It was very tickly.
The few bits where, for such a big budget film, it was such a shonky B movie. The big problem, and I think we're going to have this problem
Every time we go to see anything at the AMC that costs more than $5 million?
No, I think the big problem is, with these movies, and because they're CGI, and because they're not a man in a suit, and because it's a CGI.
You mean specifically Godzilla movies?
Yeah, these big monster movies.
Right.
The big problem is the inclination is to like throw everything at the screen, right? But I also feel like to animate a really successful monster fight would like almost take too long. So do you know what I mean? So
No.
the way they do it is they're like, let's throw dust, let's throw rain, let's throw fire, let's throw debris, so even on the IMAX, and we went to see this on IMAX,
It's about the biggest screen
possible. So there was no like, wait, what's going on over there? Because literally it was the size of a building.
Right.
There were too many occasions where I was like, wait, I can't see what's going on. And it bothered me. Because look, the charm of the old Godzilla films, especially once you get into like the 70s ones, right? Is that it's two dudes, right, in suits, fighting on like a scale model of a city, right? And while it is clunky and cheesy, obviously, you can at least see and feel what's going on, right? And I think the real shame with this one was and it's a criticism that they leveled on the 2014 movie as well, which I watched last night, is that they established Godzilla very well. They established the rises and falls, which he has several times through the movie, which, by the way, is a tradition in these kaiju movies anyway. That's always happening. He's always like, being knocked down and getting back up again.
Right, like Chumbawamba.
A lot like Chumbawamba. Right. It's weird you bring that up because
we're all thinking it.
We're all thinking it. But I think the problem is that I want to feel those hero moments more.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think that I would feel those hero moments more if I could see those hero moments more. Now, to that end, though, with each fight, the director at least remembered to have a couple in each fight epic wide shots.
Yeah.
And they were hands down my favorite thing about the film. Right? Was like Hydra on one end, or Monster Zero as they called it in this one, Godzilla on the other, City in the middle, Godzilla snorts, Hydra screams, and then there's like the run towards each other thing. Like, I love that. I will never get tired of watching that. Put that in the film a million times and I'm happy.
Right.
And he did bother to make sure that there was some genuinely epically beautiful wide shots that conjured up my earliest cinematic memory.
Oh, wow.
My earliest ever cinematic memory is seeing Fantasia when it was re-released in the early 80s as a very, very young child, like probably 3 years old, something like that. And seeing...
You remember that?
Well, because I remember epically looking up at the screen when they have the Night on Ball Mountain bit with the big demon comes out the top of the mountain and spreads its wings and everything like that. And instead of being scared, being like in awe. Just like I can picture it was at the Hazemere Cinema before it was closed down a long time ago.
Yeah.
But at the Hazemere Cinema...
Where I saw Jungle Book.
Yeah.
That's my first movie I ever saw.
And that bit with Hydra on top of the mountain in Mexico was really reminiscent of that. And I thought there was a few tableaus they did like that in this movie that were truly beautiful and truly epic. I would say that there is sadly too much of the shaky cam, debris, wind, rain, whatever, purely in an effort to be like, well, people expect a certain level of CGI. They expect a certain level from the special effects these days.
Right.
And there's been so many movies with the destructo porn, with all the buildings coming down and all the whatever, that I feel like these animators can do it in their sleep. But I think it's... And you know, obviously, like wherever the Hydra goes, it brings with it a big storm because but I kind of wish it didn't. I kind of wish someone just turned the lights on, stopped looking at Kyle Chandler desperately trying to grimace, and while the casting directors go, "What, was Dennis Quaid really busy?" And then
I like Chandler.
no, I love Chandler too. But
I think he did the best he could with what he was given.
He did very much the best he could, but there were moments where I thought if he clenched any more, he might prolapse.
It is an odd choice.
He was doing a lot of clenching.
Yeah.
But no, so, there's the old argument of very messy CGI, lots of crap being thrown at the screen, too much attention on the human characters, blah, 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 blah. But, to be honest, if I went on about that, I would just be parrot fashioning a lot of what's already been said about these movies in general. One of the things I loved about King Kong Skull Island is the last battle, more between Kong and the lizard creature, more or less takes place in daylight, in wide shot, and you can kind of see everything that's going on. And it was one of the things that I genuinely loved about it. It's like I had the same feeling towards Jurassic World as I did towards King Kong Skull Island, which is balls to all these human characters. And not because for example, in this one, Godzilla, King of the Monsters, I much preferred the human story, all the stuff that was going on. I did not mind that at all. In Kong Skull Island and Jurassic World, couldn't give a bollocks, mate. Could not give two shits about Hiddleston and Brie Larson in Kong, and I couldn't give a wank about Chris Pratt. However, the T-Rex fight at the end of that one and the King Kong fight at the end of Skull Island, I was whooping in my seats like I was watching Rocky IV. And that's kind of what I want from these films, is I want a Rocky IV moment. And there was lots and lots of opportunity in Godzilla King of the Monsters for that moment. And not that it doesn't deliver, but it just doesn't.
Well, I know what you mean. It kept it kept cutting away. It was more like, well, we've got to have like 4 fights between Godzilla and the three-headed thingamajig, right?
Monster Zero.
And rather than like give it all away, we can't just have one big fight and then like some human stuff and then another big fight. So we've got to like break it up and cut away. And I felt like it was trying to do the thing that the first one did that I thought really, really well. The first Godzilla movie. We just have like bits of the monsters and like a corner of like a leg or something.
Right.
And it was all like shot from like the ground, where like what people would actually see. And the only time you got to see them was at the end in the big fight when they were going at it. And they were running each other and God, they were like tearing to pieces and all the rest of it. And that was just like, right, here you go, here's your fucking fight. And it was, you know, whatever, like 20 minutes of the movie. Just the end of the movie was them going at it with all that, like you say, that Rocky IV stuff. And I thought there were bits, and I know you, like, I think you and I disagree about the first Godzilla movie, but I fucking love the first Godzilla movie. And the bits in it that took my breath away, they were like the shots. So when the guys jump out the plane,
Yeah,
like,
I just found
falling
it
through
very.
the cloud with the voice going, "Brr." I thought it was fucking aces. But then, you know, there were so many bits in this. Like, I loved every time Godzilla came, there was like all that stuff. It's like,
Right.
that's brilliant. More of that, please.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
just
because all that
I
is
feel like
from
it's
the
stuff that
original.
he just, yeah, but all the, like you said, all the stuff that they were like, let's take it from the original because that's fun. Like, those movies are fun.
Yeah.
And let's do that, but let's just turn that up to, you know, 11, right?
Yeah.
And throw some money at it. That's our fucking movie, which I would have been all for. But I don't know that. Does Godzilla keep fighting the same monster in those movies, or does?
No, all different ones.
No. But I just mean in the movie itself, does he have like 4 fights with the same monster?
Yeah, if that's what the film is. I mean, there's 30 sequels. I haven't seen them all.
Right. I just wanted because I found that a bit annoying that it was just him, and any time he won because like he'd been gamed in some way. Like, oh, now he's like super nuclear or I don't know, whatever. But and I know it's bollocks, and I'm happy. I'm happy with any old like, oh, we pressed the magic button, and now he's got, you know, nukes for teeth or whatever, right? I don't give a shit.
He should have had nukes for two.
Right, I don't give a shit. But it just, I don't know. The Rocky IV moment is like, I don't know, like he remembered something. In Rocky IV,
Right.
like how he ends up defeating the guy,
Right.
is usually not because of like magic, you know, magic beans or whatever, right? It's because he remembered something or he reached inside himself or whatever, and that's fine. Like, he's a human, and that's a little, you know, you can't have a flashback of Godzilla like talking to his dad or something. Do you know what I mean?
Sorry, you could have done it.
But there's got to be something.
I would have done it. I would
you
have
know,
done it, Jim. I would have given you that moment.
I just think you could have locked a screenwriter in a room and go, come up with a human reason why he triumphs over. Because it's like, oh, it's the human voices merged with the fucking monsters or whatever bollocks that was, and our magic, you know, talking box or whatever. Like,
Right.
Jesus, this is some seriously lame screenwriting. People, like, you know. Anyway, that's all fine because it's all bollocks, and I've got no problem with that. But just something that means when he gets, when he gets up, just like you're saying, when he gets up off the canvas
Right.
in the last thing, when all seems lost, you know, he remembers that, you know, when his dad told him, never give up in a city full of rubble, son.
Right.
Never give up, you know.
Well, also-
always pick up the clock tower and belt them, you know, the family jewels, son. The family jewels. Whatever, right?
Right. But
Something.
I think that there was definitely too much. He's out. No, he's back up again. And there were also too many of those manufactured moments where, oh, the Hydra's just about to destroy an entire city, but don't worry, Godzilla's behind him. Like,
Yeah.
I get it. It's a total trope, but you just lose the impact of it the third time.
Yes, I know. I agree with you, actually. I
The
think,
fourth time.
I think
the
you're
fifth
right.
time.
If you've got 17 movies to choose from, just pick one great trope from each movie.
Right.
And then, you know, make sure that when that trope comes, it's like the best moment for that trope.
And listen.
Not, oh no, she threw the magic box away for no reason in the stadium that I don't understand why she's there. What the fuck is going on?
Well, because Fenway Park, mate, what you don't know about it is if you plug a magic MacGuffin box into Fenway Park,
into its PA
it
system.
broadcasts around the entire globe, mate. Out of old megaphone style.
From the 70s.
From the 70s.
At best, those loudspeakers are the 70s.
From the 70s, mate. That, what you don't understand, is in China.
Where are we going to have our bunker? our bunker that we're going to hide out. Make sure that our bunker is within walking distance of something that could catastrophically ruin our plans. You know, should that be required?
There was...
And also, they kind of implied that her batshit scheme. She'd sat down with her daughter and go, so here's my batshit scheme. She's like, dear Dad, I'm worried about Mum. And what they don't tell you is that she's worried about her mum because her mum's plan is to destroy the world. But
So wait, had she finished that email in the first 30 seconds, would none of this have happened?
maybe.
Would have Chandler shown up and been like, I was photographing wolves and you stopped me.
I was listening to wolves eating. Why were you listening to wolves eating? Is that going to become relevant later? It's big. I thought he was going later on. He's going to hear Godzilla and go. He's hungry.
He's having a wolf moment. I can tell.
No, don't worry, mate. I'll be all right. I speak wolf. You know, that was going to be a thing.
So, yeah, that was all a bit bollocks. I mean, it was all. To be fair, it was all a bit
horseshit. But you're right. I didn't mind because there was enough Actually, that was pretty funny moments. Usually with Bradley Whitford.
Oh, Bradley Whitford is so good. Just make him the main guy.
Yeah, without him, it would get pretty annoying. Because even Watanabe, he's usually amazing badly, was a bit like...
Who? Charles...
Ken... I'm not going to pronounce his name. Ken Watanabe?
Yes.
Yeah. Even he was like... It was like, hey, can we give him the most cliched lines? Is there a cliched line that we can give him? You know, give it to Ken.
The screenwriters have come up with 5 more cliche lines. Ken, wake up.
Ken, give him a kick. No, don't make me say it. Don't make me say it again.
Also, stop putting the guy from the Verizon ads into things. I just want to punch him in the face.
Yeah, that was a weird choice. I mean, I get it. They're going with...
No, but when you have Bradley Whitford as your comic relief, don't put in, nerdy, dweeby, beardy Verizon guy. I just want to punch him. Also, I said this last time, I forget what movie we were talking about, where the villain's plot was, villain plot A plus villain plot C. There was a load of old bollocks. But what was it we were talking about? What was the last big... Oh, Detective Pikachu.
Oh, yeah.
And we were saying that, the big problem is that with everything trying to compete with everything, villain plots are short on the ground, mate, and they're just recycling them.
Yeah.
But I can't, my heart actually sank when Farmiga started going on about her big villain plot.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, wait, is this another humans have to die in order to live speech? I think I've seen 6 of those this season already. This season, this year.
Yeah.
Not even spread out over the last 5 years. I'd give them that.
Yeah.
This year alone, I can count on one hand how many times I've seen that fucking villain plot.
Yeah. Also...
Spoilers, by the way, Farmiga turns out to be evil.
Yeah, but she's had to be evil after about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. I do get it, but there was genuinely no reason for it. Charles Dance, there should have been more Charles Dance. And also, why didn't somebody say to Charles Dance, any chance you could turn the Charles Dance up a little bit? Could we have a bit more, spitting, contemptuous, do you know what I mean, snarls? You know what I mean? Is there any chance you could make us feel more like we're human garbage when you're talking to us? You know what I mean?
But there wasn't any lines for him.
No, but that's what... Get rid of, have the whole, family... I mean, that was are they trying to get back together? Was what's the family thing? Emmerich knows how to do... They've got a family, they've been split apart, they want to get back together.
Yeah, but if you put Emmerich's name... He did Godzilla back in the 90s and got shit all over it.
Yeah. But I guess what I'm saying...
But that had John Reno being, super cool in it.
Yeah. Take Farmiga out, right? Dance is the villain. Ego terrorist.
She's so boring at this point.
He believes in, restoring the balance by, I don't know, whatever. Who cares? I'm going to unleash them because, someone's got to unleash them.
Also, I love that bit at the beginning where they were he's unleashing them in order to extract DNA. They were like, Why would anyone want to do that? They're like, oh yeah, you know,
It's not a pharmaceutical company in the world that wouldn't want a bit of an animal.
Bit of Godzilla's DNA. And
cool.
Also, could I just point something out? Like, isn't Godzilla created because of like the nuclear testing back in the 50s, which plays into the fact that they're able to like recharge his batteries by having Watanabe like throw a nuke at him. But why is then there all this bullshit about, oh, they're the ancients, they've been around forever? Well, they haven't, have they? It was all out of nuclear testing, wasn't it? Or did nuclear testing just like wake them up?
Are they saying like the radiation at the center of the planet or something? I mean, I'm with you there. I mean, I
don't know enough about the original Godzilla movies, to be fair.
Well, I mean, no, I think that was definitely part of it. I don't know if it's about... I agree there was like an attempt to like bolt on. Oh, they've always been around and now they're reclaiming it. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure how... okay, here's my question, right? Who built the instrument that accurately gauges how long it is until the radiation that they've injected into Godzilla turns him into, he explodes? So like 6 minutes until he explodes. You go, how do you? What's on your little screen that says you've got 6 minutes? Oh, here's the countdown clock.
They have his pulse rate and they have his heart.
Yeah, but you can't look until he explodes.
Right.
6 minutes. What?
Right.
His pulse is speeding up, and he seems to be getting higher in radiation. That's as far as I'm prepared to go. But to go from that to 6 minutes until he explodes,
right?
Like, what's their frame of reference here?
Well,
do you know what I mean?
The last time he exploded,
the last time they injected a giant, furious lizard with a nuclear energy that can't possibly be contained.
Yeah.
The only bit of the whole movie that rubbed me up the wrong way, well, there are two things that rubbed me up the wrong way, but the bit that really rubbed me up the wrong way was at the end, Godzilla's like, I'm a nuclear bomb, and I stamp on you, and I win because I'm basically a nuke. And then, like, the whole city's wiped out by a nuke. And we're supposed to go, hooray! And I feel a bit like, I don't know that a city being wiped out by a nuke in a proper nuclear explosion. It's not like Godzilla did something awesome and he happened to be powered by a nuke.
So much they don't even want to walk past you to the exit.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Who are they, the people that hate it?
Two women that were sat over there.
They'll be fine. They'll have something to talk about. They can post about it or blog about it or whatever. Do people still blog?
I don't know.
I don't know, do they?
What I found hilarious, deeply hilarious, at one point...
Did it make you feel weird? Because it did make me feel weird.
What, about the city blowing up? No.
Just the whole, like, he's a nuclear bomb and nuclear bombs are... Basically, nuclear bombs are awesome.
Yeah, I know, but like...
Which I feel like is a bit of the opposite message to what the original Godzilla movie
all of the humans were all sat there while, like, radiation and nuclear debris and bits of buildings and cars were flying past them, and they all seemed fine.
That's true. When he, like, careered back into the... after being dropped, and he landed, and then they all stood there, and they weren't that far away, and they had a massive wind of debris, and they all just went, oh, that's a bit breezy.
Yeah, a bit breezy.
Bit breezy.
Bit breezy tonight in Boston.
Bit breezy.
Yeah. What? Tonight in Boston, a chance of massive building debris flying at your face.
Lizard-related wind. Lizard wind.
So this was my thing, is that it would be super easy to be, like, cynical and negative about it.
No, I get
it. There's a ton of...
I'm really, really, really glad we saw it in the IMAX.
Me too.
This is not an airplane movie.
No, not at all. There's a ton of, like, there's a ton of, like, writing errors in this. It's generic as all get out.
Yeah. Which, again, at the beginning I didn't mind so much because I did feel like...
But I will tell you this.
It's like old-fashioned.
It's a fuck's like more fun than the first one, I felt. It's certainly more my speed than the first one. I didn't mind Chandler. I loved Whitford. Farmiga needs to find another setting. Dance wasn't dance enough. Your lady out of Stranger Things.
Millie Bobby Brown.
Is that her name?
That's her name.
A Millie Bobby Brown.
Millie Bobby Brown.
A Millie Bobby Brown. She's great. She's like a Natalie Portman Mark II, isn't she? I just mean, like, at the beginning, there was something of the professional, like Natalie Portman in The Professional kind of thing. She just has
I thought she was a bit bland.
Well, she never much to do, does she, except run around
No, that's true.
and scream.
But yeah, most of her thing was like, wait, what? Why?
Right. But it was
How?
all that. Like, again, it's one of those films, like, if you started to pull at the inconsistency thread, the entire Godzilla
right.
sweater would unravel.
You're right. I did really, really enjoy it. And all of the stuff that was, like you say, really generic, actually, I kind of liked because it reminded me of what I was watching. You know?
Wait, and there was bits.
There weren't like long bits where people were like sitting in rooms going, the trouble is, you know,
Yeah.
we're not connected to the earth. I don't know, some bollocks.
No, but what I also liked was, what I liked about watching it was that I didn't, it didn't bother me, or I didn't get distracted by the fact that it made huge leaps as to where everyone was at any given time. I mean, at one point they were in Antarctica, then they were in Venezuela, then they were in like Mexico, then they were in Boston, and like all within the space of a few minutes. And Kyle Chandler seemed to be like, I need to get on that boat and then jump onto that thing and get into the submarine and move that.
And they were like, he's fine, he's in charge, because he knows what wolves are saying.
when wolves.
Why is he? We are the army, right? Why is some wolf whisperer ordering us around? So what the fuck is this?
Yeah, that
No, no, I won't drop the
Well,
helicopter.
no, but wait. He does have a jacket that he clearly bought in an army thrift store.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
that does that. And look at him grimacing, and look at his 4-day stubble. Clearly, he's the guy we're going to follow.
Yeah.
Like even at one point, the general dude, the guy from Sneakers, what's his name? Who was in
Well, Stratham.
David Stratham. He shows up. And he's all like, we've got this thing, and we're doing this
Don't
thing.
worry,
and
we
blah,
fired
blah,
a
blah,
magical
blah, blah.
missile.
Yeah, and then
It'll definitely work. Sorry, mate, this is like an hour into the movie. It's not going to work.
It's not going to work. But Kyle Chandler was like, no, none of that. We shouldn't have done that. Don't do that. Do this instead. Go this way. Walk it. But what was great was he was, throughout the movie, I mean, unless this movie took place over 4 days, which it didn't, unless this movie took
They
place...
did have a really massive ship.
They had they had numerous massive spaceships. By the way, that massive spaceship thing that they were flying around it got destroyed at least 3 times during the movie. And then every time they need, well, hang on a second, we need to be 7,000 miles from where we are in 10 minutes.
Now.
Just hop on the magic spaceship. All right, that'll do.
How do we get from Antarctica to Venezuela in 2 minutes? Build me that ship.
Yeah.
If you don't know how, find a man who knows what wolves are saying. He will help.
Not only that, but this government agency that the government doesn't even like or trust and is trying to shut down and therefore would be woefully underfunded has more technological advance than any other branch of the military.
That's a good point. Where are they getting their money from?
I don't know. It's probably
They're like selling off, like, I don't know, like,
Ken Watanabe.
why don't you come in? You want to look at Monster? Do you want to come and see it? Want to see a monster?
It's
2 mil. 2 mil, and you can see a monster.
there was a great bit at the beginning. I'm gonna Sally Hawkins,
Right.
who plays the woman from Shape of Water and is in Godzilla 2014 and in this one at the beginning. It was a really funny bit at the beginning, and I love how we haven't explained the plot because basically. Wolf Whisperer gets involved with secret government agency where there's also a bit of military. They go around the world. There are monsters. They've all been woken up by Charles Dance and Vera Farmiga.
Plot twist.
Godzilla needs to be resurrected with a nuclear weapon in Atlantis. He comes back. He fights things, and that's the plot. It really doesn't matter.
No, except that the 3-headed dragon is from space.
Yeah. It is from
Because-
space, can regrow heads.
Yeah, because massive mammoths and turtles, Godzilla, that's fine.
Right.
But 3-headed dragon? No, mate, that's from somewhere else, isn't it?
That's some space.
Some space, mate. That's just impossible.
Yeah. Well, that's why they're not rebuilding the Earth; they're destroying it.
That's right.
Even though her whole point was, once a monster has destroyed a city, things grow in its place. Which, by the way, happens if you just leave cities alone. Like if everyone clears
So,
out.
like, if you killed everyone,
Yeah.
trees would grow. Right? Can we find a way to grow the trees that doesn't involve murdering everybody?
How about we take
Is there-
all the money that you've ploughed into Monarch, building huge containment systems for these monsters. Here's an idea. Take, I don't know, half the budget. Keep the containment system budget, but you don't need your Bondish lair out in the middle of the ocean with your 500...
They're like, you know, Outpost 64. You go, but there's only 17 monsters.
Yeah.
So what are the other 50 outposts even for?
Well, it's money, mate, money.
Yeah.
So, what do you need that outpost there in Rio de Janeiro? Bikini outpost.
It's very good for morale.
You seem to have an outpost in Monte Carlo. What you have to understand is...
You only seem to go to the New Orleans outpost around Mardi Gras. Is that coincidence at all? And the Kentucky one around Derby? And this one, just next to the Lord's cricket ground, seems to take place around the Ashes.
That's very weird. Very
That's
weird.
weird, that is.
Why do you have 17 outposts in the Mediterranean alone? Well, we need those. They're very important. Very important. We're doing
olive oil makes you live longer.
We're doing larvae research. Larvae research. Larvae research.
The effect of sunshine and alcohol
olive oil and alcohol on larvae
and lounging around. Yeah, a big part of Monarch is a pretty sweet deal because also, like, the American government go, what are you doing? You go, none of your business. Jog on. And apparently that's cool.
17 giant monsters. Yeah. I'm sorry, can we go back to clause 17?
So what is your plan with the giant monsters? It's been 5 years since one of them destroyed San Francisco. Yeah. So what's your plan?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean... Godzilla seems pretty cool, so maybe the other ones are too. That's what 5 years has brought us.
Yeah.
That's what 5 years of leaving you alone.
Yeah.
You seem very tanned. Do you know what I mean?
Wait, have you been at Outpost 37?
Why are you wearing a Hawaiian shirt and holding a pina colada?
Yeah. Wait. What about this Outpost?
Just dragging away from a very important meeting.
The Great Barrier Reef. Oh, well. We have to be there, mate. It's called the Great Barrier Reef. There's probably monsters there. Probably monsters.
Call something great. Probably monster.
Probably monsters.
We're going to fish monster.
We'll
go back to you. Give us another 5 years, maybe 10.
We found a slightly...
There's definitely monsters. Yeah. Just keep giving us the money.
We found some pretty pissed off dolphins. Does that count?
Just stop asking questions and keep giving us the money.
But what I'm saying is, if Monarch took 50% of their money, maybe cut a couple of the more luxurious outposts.
Do all the swimming pools need to be heated?
They could buy a part of the rainforest and just grow some trees.
How much on cocktail umbrellas? The budget for cocktail umbrellas alone.
They are nuke-tipped cocktail umbrellas. They are nuke-tipped.
We're reasonably sure that if you hold them over your head, they will stop monster-related fire.
They will stop.
Will they? Hasn't been tested in the field, but experiments are very promising.
It has been tested on the beach.
Yes, what? On the beach.
Not in the field, but on the beach.
In the sun's rays, they're fucking unstoppable. I'm telling you.
They stopped my ice cubes from melting for at least an extra
3 months. I was out on the beach every day with those umbrellas.
Suntan lotion alone is enough the gross national product of Belize. I don't think that we don't mention Outpost 83 in the Maldives.
Outpost 83 is the Maldives. We just bought the Maldives.
But no, you're right. Unleashing 17 giant monsters to duke it out so that we destroy major parts of the world so that maybe some trees can grow. It's not. I think that I've found a flaw in your plan there, Vera.
Just say it back to yourself out loud.
Also, can you imagine being Farmiga and like the day you have to do that speech, which you know is utter bollocks from top to bottom. You have to sit on looking at a laptop doing this speech. You've got to, as an actor, you've got to dread that. I've got to say what?
Yeah, you're probably right.
That I want to destroy all the planets so that some trees can grow.
You're right. I bet she did. I bet there was a moment of crisis.
Also, since when did...
That could be like a TV movie.
Since when did radiation make magic vines grow? When was that a thing? Is that a thing?
No, that's not a thing.
Is it a thing?
It's not
I thought photosynthesis and solar energy did.
No. Yeah, please. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you're right. That doesn't work. I mean, even...
Well, because also the big flaw in her plan is that all the nuclear testing sites on the planet that currently exist are all utterly barren. Like if you go to the Nevada desert where they used to test nuclear, like the sand is literally white and you can see the horizon for 360 degrees because there's literally nothing living there. So that's a major problem, right? Well, radiation makes plants grow. Next, sweep that under the carpet.
Yeah. You're a doctor of what now? I'm a doctor of building magic boxes that talk to monsters. So if I can do that, I can do fucking anything.
I was sad to see Mothra go. That was very sad for me.
Is Mothra dead?
Yeah. Her little, when she was killed, her little, like, magic dust
yeah.
woke Godzilla back up again.
Well, not really. If that had been a thing, that would have been something, but it didn't...
It did, because he all glowed red when it all floated
Oh, I
down.
thought it was more, he was like a bit sad, and then she drove away and he got up. But I guess it was kind of that.
I think it was the magic Mothra dust.
I mean, that could have been the human Rocky IV moment. Like that, if like Mothra with its like last bit of strength would like hold him to his feet or something.
Yeah.
But not like sprayed him with magic. It was very.
But she was queen of the monsters, and as that intuitive army general, who's the other guy who's like the African American guy with the beard.
Yeah.
Who was like.
Oh, he was good. Yeah.
Whatever. He was good. But he was also everywhere at once. Like they went, we got to evacuate Mexico, and there he was evacuating Mexico. And I'm like, wait, wasn't he just on the ship? Like, how did he get to? Well, they put him in the magic thing that got him to Mexico. Well,
We've got the magic ship that takes you from Antarctica to Venezuela in 5 minutes. There's a smaller magic ship that will take you from Venezuela to Mexico in 30 seconds.
could you go there and evacuate the entire thing into one helicopter? We could probably do that.
Got kids in here. You flew in to a town of 12,000.
They got
picked
5
up
kids.
Maybe because we didn't actually see those kids.
Well, we saw them run out and then go somewhere
That's true.
on the ship. They're probably somewhere like pushing all the buttons, but erasing all of Bradley Whitford's recordings. Probably why he drinks.
Yeah, probably. He was good. I didn't mind. You're right, because I didn't really mind the plot holes, because every time there was a thing, it was like, wait, what? How did they get there or whatever?
Yeah.
I'm thinking, that's fine. They could have put a scene in where it's like, right, I'm going to leave the ship now. I'm off to Mexico. Water my cactuses. I'll be back in an hour, right? And then it was like, do. Like, do you know what I mean? He's on a bus, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, probably, like, do you want to speed up, mate? Because the moth is, you know what I mean, going out the mountain. The dragon is coming down.
Yeah.
And then he gets, so they go, right then, time to get me some, like, that would have been fine, but I'd have been like, we could have spent that time.
Also, everything
looking
was
at
like,
monsters.
it's 2 minutes before this happens. It's 4 minutes before this
It's
happens.
like totally
It's
like
7
random. Someone's like in charge of listen, just if you don't know, make up. Tell them it's 6 minutes.
Yeah.
6 minutes. till Godzilla explodes.
The thing that really made me very happy. So in You Only Live Twice with like Blofeld's volcano lair. There's, as well as him having all the like guys in jumpsuits with guns as well.
Right.
He's also got like the little electrician guy and the guy who's running the helipad and another guy who's on the radio. And he's got like all these, probably a cleaner or 4.
Yeah.
I would imagine a volcano lair probably needs dusting.
He's got a recruitment agency to
time
die
to-
for.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But what was really
He may not
nice-
be very good at like defeating Bond, but his recruitment skills.
Recruitment skills, second
You know what I
to
mean?
none, second to none. Do you want to go work in a volcano lair?
Yeah.
Sure, that sounds great. You will have to wear a tracksuit and hang out with 500 other people.
Yeah.
Probably only mashed potato and cheese.
You do all sleep in the same room.
You do all
We
sleep
do
in
only
one
have
enormous
beans.
bed. Well, you don't sleep.
No,
Not if you work in a volcano lair. It's a 24-hour job, mate. Round the clock.
that's true. Until you die.
Then you're killed, and then there's more
And then it
recruitment.
explodes.
More recruitment. But no, in this one, when they went out to their platform in the ocean special lair, and they were going down on a helicopter all the way down, right to the bottom. There was a little chappie with a glow-in-the-dark stick, like waving them down onto the helipad. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. That's nice. And a little chappie, he probably just stands all the way. When are they coming back to Outpost 87?
What I
Well,
like is how massive the
out.
outpost was. Wow, it's really, really big. What do they do here? Well, we sit in one very small room, and we look out of a little porthole, and we follow Godzilla around.
Yeah.
Seems like this could have been smaller. Do you know what I mean? Like, if being mobile is the thing here, I'm not sure building it the size of like the Grand Canyon.
But they
is the way to go.
they are giving that one guy dental, a good 401k.
That's true. He's probably like Senator's son.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably did that. Like, all right, I'll give you the money for the lab. It has to be big enough that my son, whose only talent is waving glow-in-the-dark sticks, can have a job.
Yeah.
Well, it has to be big, then.
But
Obviously, it has to be big. If he's going to wave his glow-in-the-dark stick and not feel like a proper child.
Because normally in these movies, you know, people fly and land and
they do without anybody waving any glowing sticks.
Anything. You know, ships come into port, no one's there. Like, it's all just happening.
Yeah, exactly.
But in this one, some extra, some actor was hired to go on a green screen and wave a little thing around.
You're right.
So
You're right. And they could, if they'd left him out, I don't feel like there would have been too much uproar.
Oh, no. I looked.
You know what I mean?
The rest of the thing, they landed the helicopters with no problem at all. It was just that one outpost needed that guy. And he's like, wait, why do I not get to go to Outpost 42 in the Mediterranean? Oh, no, you have to start here in the middle of the Pacific and then build up to the more cushy assignments. The cushy assignments are just all filled with like louche, fat James Spader types sitting around in open top
just like
linen shirts.
It's basically an army of con men. Because it's like, are you any good at... Look, no one knows what... these are monsters, right? There's no science here. There's nothing to learn. Can you get us money? We need a lot of money.
Yeah.
Sure, I can get you money. What do I get in exchange? Well,
Monarch is
here's the employee benefit plan for Monarch.
Monarch is a front
Suck
for
it to
Thomas Cook.
But I would work for Monarch.
Yeah.
But only, you know what I mean?
I'd work for Monarch, but only at one of the cushier outposts.
Yeah, nowhere near any monsters.
Nowhere near any ammo. Well, there's only 17 of those.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Can't
they're
be hard
spread
to
evenly
find.
across the globe.
Can't be hard
and
to find,
apparently
right?
they can all hear the public address system at Fenway Park in Boston.
That's just a fact. One of the few reliable facts in this movie.
Yeah.
But you're right. I did enjoy it, and I'm really glad we saw it at the IMAX. And if you get a chance to see it at the IMAX,
And if you're
Sure.
a Yankee fan who doesn't want to see Fenway Park level to the ground,
exactly.
it's pretty.
But it was fun. It was silly.
It
It was silly fun.
What I liked about it,
It didn't
was,
annoy me like a lot of the blockbusters.
No. And in its basic storytelling, it follows very closely what you would expect from a monster movie, specifically a Godzilla or a kaiju movie, as they call them, a kaiju movie. It does follow the pattern pretty closely. They listened to what people said about Godzilla 2014 and like ramped up the fights and, you know, made it more exciting and blah, 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 and added monsters and all the rest of it. And I just think, you know, they haven't had time to do 17 movies of all the different monsters. You know, they've had to pick Godzilla, in this case, let's say, being the Iron Man of the franchise, and they've just run with it because, you know, with the Dark Universe, the one where they were trying to do like the Mummy and Dracula and all that wang, when that like spectacularly went tits up, producers around Hollywood must have been like, fuck. We've got like all these monster movies planned. Like, this better be good. You know, Pacific Rim 2, I don't think did anything, did it?
No, I don't think so.
I think the Meg doing any money was a huge surprise to everybody. Because who saw
Well, that's
that?
probably right, because like Jurassic World, The Meg, like stuff like that, like clearly monster movies. Because people go to these things, like people go to the cinema nowadays for spectacle. Like, that's what they go for.
Right.
And if it's a monster movie, you go, what? I think the thing is, like, if you're going to see a monster movie, right, you're saying, I'm going to hand over my money and I'm going to see some spectacle because it's a fucking monster movie.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to get gypped with, what's the city on wheels doing? You know what I mean? Or, I mean, like, I don't know. But that kind of thing. I feel like the way we've been burned with blockbusters, people do. But I think when you go to see a monster movie, you know what you're going to get, and you come away reasonably happy. That's why, even though Godzilla didn't get very good reviews, I think it did pretty well.
It made tons of money.
Made tons of money. And Skull Island was the same. Didn't get great reviews, but made tons of money.
But I legitimately thought, like, I know a lot of people were very impressed with like Peter Jackson's King Kong in terms of the animation of the actual
I like the movie
gorilla
too.
and its circus or whatever. But in terms of monster fights, at the end of Kong Skull Island, when he was fighting the giant lizard thing, I was like, that's brilliant. Like, that should have been more of the film.
Yeah, fair enough.
And so, I just, someone somewhere when making these movies needs to learn about hero moments.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, the thing is it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be a big thing. It doesn't always have to be the boom, 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 boom. Here we go, which happened in this movie like 17 times with his tail lighting up, and it was like whoop, 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 and then, a big explosion. It doesn't have to be that. Like, I know I always bring it up, but like I go back to Wrath of Khan. In Wrath of Khan, the hero moment is him literally. He's like, I don't believe in the no-win scenario. Flips his thing and goes, Spock, how we doing? And you just, it's literally 2 lines. It's paid off an entire build-up, but it's 2 lines. No one, cheers, nothing explodes, but it, just recounting it to you. I'm like, that's so fucking cool, right? Yeah. Just like in Wrath of Khan again, where he's like, we're only alive because I know something about these ships that Khan doesn't. And stuff like that. Hero moments can come out of small moments and ingenuity and like a thought or an idea or a moment. It doesn't always have to be bum 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 bum. But if you're gonna have like a big explosive hero moment, you can only really do that maybe twice in a movie. You can do it in the midway point and you can do it at the end point. But you can't keep
that's why the 2014 one works so well, because that thing of the blue fire was like, wait, what? At the moment that he seemed at his weakest, there was this thing that he could do that he drew on.
Right.
That clearly wore him out. It's like a one, because in the movie, my memory anyway, is just like a one-time shot thing. It's
I watched it last night and I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. So when it comes, it's
like my problem with Godzilla 2014 is I watched it last night. I couldn't even tell you anything that happened, and I watched it last night.
I still really like it.
No, I think there is a way to watch it where it hits you more, but I couldn't. All I remember is Bryan Cranston is woefully miscast in this film. That was my feeling.
Yeah. No, I thought he was okay.
They've decided that the leading male character in these movies talks like this and everything's very gruff and I've got to make grimacing faces and everyone's got to be like that. And so Cranston just seemed
constipated. It's weird because it's like what they're doing. It seems like it's like we can buy cheap charisma for these movies by importing great actors from TV, but I'm not sure that TV charisma is the same as movie charisma.
No, don't get me wrong. Chandler is great, but you need the reason why.
I feel like you need a big.
Is it Watanabe? Watanabe? How is it pronounced?
I think it's Ken Watanabe.
Okay. The reason why he's so much better than Kyle Chandler in terms of this movie is that at no point do you need someone who can run, jump, and punch someone in the face, because who's he going to punch in the face? These are huge monsters. Unless you're going to have Chandler face off against Dance, unless the end of your movie is Chandler beating the hell out of Dance while Godzilla beats the hell out of Hydra in the background, which by the way would have been amazing. Why didn't they do that? Yeah, and what happened to Dance? He just went.
Yeah,
is he gonna come back?
Maybe.
But what I'm saying is, unless you need him to run, jump, punch, whatever, you don't really need a Indiana Jones type in these movies. You need you need your Bradley Whitford cracking wise and being good with you. It's got 4 minutes till the winkle pickers explode or whatever. Until the Hujima flip goes nuclear. And you need your epic historian spouting, myth loving, which you have in Ken Watanabe. So those characters are far more interesting in this world because you're not following the usual action thing of whatever. This isn't the Rock in San Andreas or Dennis Quaid in the Day After Tomorrow. No one's got to like run and jump ravines or whatever. In fact, to be honest, they could have all stayed home. You know what I mean? Like if
with a TV and a telephone.
If all the humans had stayed home, they wouldn't have like suffocated Godzilla, and it would all be fine.
That's true. It would have worked out fine.
Yeah.
No, because he lost the fight. Even when he was all right, he lost the fight to Thingamajig.
Right.
And he ripped off his head, but it grew back. So he needed to be injected with it. No, I see what you're saying, but like from the shitty screenplay point, he needed to be injected with a nuclear energy drink in order to stamp the monster into existence.
But they could
we should finish up.
They could have just dropped a giant iron brew down into the ravine and just been like, that's enough. But all I'm saying is, next time I want more. Like I kept thinking, like if you had even if you had like a glorious old ham. Like,
I feel like it's a bit of a jip to talk about Skull Island and not have Kong in it at all.
Yeah.
Like I was a bit gypped by that. I was a bit.
Well,
like,
I wanted.
Again, it doesn't. If you're gonna have Godzilla fighting King Kong,
I wanted Kong,
thing, right?
Mothra, and Godzilla, who I think are the three main good ones. Or at least, if Godzilla and Mothra are going to fight Hydra, at least have Kong fighting the mammoth thing.
Well, presumably they're saving Kong for Godzilla versus Kong. That's the big movie. That's going to be their like Avengers Endgame. So Godzilla v Kong.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but you can't kill either of them because you need endless...
No, but it's going to be like Freddy versus Jason, isn't it? They're going to like fight a bit, and then they'll realise that actually they've got to team up against whatever other like space monster. Fell out of the sky.
Well, all the others still exist. All the other...
Well, then they'll all be, like, turned bad by Charles Dance, because Charles Dance will get hold of the magic box, and he'll tell them,
He'll play
you hate lizards and monkeys.
Yeah.
Right? And then they'll go, we hate lizards and monkeys.
He'll play them endless Miley Cyrus songs, and they'll just get angry and annoyed and want to kill things.
I don't think they're you. Like, they might like Miley Cyrus.
No. Giant mammoth creatures and whatever.
I agree that you and the giant mammoth creature have more in common than other human beings have in common with the giant mammoth.
Yeah.
That's true.
Or they'll play them like endless... who's that? That's my favourite thing about Mars Attacks is when they play them that like crooning country and western singer and it makes all the heads explode. But they should do something like that. Get some pop thing.
Again, I just don't see a future for you in big budget Hollywood production. I just
and Cockney sing-alongs win the day.
Yeah.
And with that, we've written the best Godzilla movie, and Guy Ritchie's going to direct it. Coming at 2025.
2025, produced by John Cross. His first and only credit.
From the producer of Lots of Wind. From the producer of Freedom Gas.
Freedom Gas.
All right, that's enough.
Land of Song is it features the national songs and dances of Wales. Now, what about if London had its own song and dance program? Could it be something like this, the Cockney Street of Song?
My old man said follow the van and don't dilly-dally on the way. Off went the van with me home packed in it, and I walked behind with me own cuff linen. But I dallied and dallied and dilly. I lost the van and don't know where to go. Oh, you can't trust the specials like the old-time coppers when you can't find your way out.
Oh, any old iron, any old iron. You look sweet, talk about a treat. You look a dapper from your nappers to your feet. You're dressed in style, lady style. Your mother's old green hat on, but I won't give it thanks for your old bird cage. Old iron, old iron. Oh, don't be like that, girl. I was only kidding.
What a mouth for the north and south. Christ, what a mouth he's got. When he was a youngster, old Lord Lover was poor old mother. Beat him with a shovel, what a gap. Poor chap, he's never been known to laugh. For if he did, it's a penny to a quid that his taste had fallen off. What a mouth for the north and south. Christ, what a mouth he's got. That Coleman, an old short-sighted fella, saw his mouth wide open. He took it for a seller and he shot the lot right into his mouth, no joke. Now 10 poor souls got a tummy full of gold and his face is the colour of coke.
Now there ain't a lady living in this land desert swapped for me a dear old dad.
Who were you with last night?
Did you say who was I with last night?
Oh, well, it wasn't your sister and it wasn't your mom. Who were you with last night?
You mean out in the pale moonlight?
I do. Oh, were you gonna tell your missus when you got home who you were with last night?
Well, I was at a ding-dong down dear old Brixton Way. Old Mother Brown, the pearly queen, was over yesterday. Oh, what a celebration, was really la-di-da. Until they rolled the carpet up and said, now come on, Ma.
Oh, and raise up Mother Brown, raise up Mother Brown. Come to the table you must go. E-I-E-I-E-I-O. If I catch you bending, I'll saw your legs right off. Oh, knees up, don't get the breeze up, Mother Brown.